Sport present the first national rally, the Tour de Total.
It's a new season and a clean slate as the South African Rally Championship contenders descend on Natal. The sugarcane fields north and south of Durban will become the battlefield of a two-day fight to the end. Having ended last year on a high, Nissan have worked around the clock to produce 4 brand new rally cars in time for this, the first event. Their motorsport manager, Pieter de Waal, has added a third Class A car to the team in the form of brother Nick de Waal and navigator Guy Hodgson. They join the existing crews of Hannes Krobler, Piet Swanepoel and Jannie Habach with Douglas Judd. Nick and Guy's move from Toyota to Nissan has reduced the Toyota Class A attack to 2, a situation that seems to suit the Toyota camp. The mechanics now having more time to spend on Serge Damso and Vito Bonafide's newly built Conquest and the second four-wheel drive car of Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley. Ford have had to compromise in this event since their new four-wheel drive lasers are still far from completion in the Johannesburg workshops. They have, however, entered the newly signed team of Cyril van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff in a Cosworth-powered two-wheel drive Sapphire. This has reduced last year's champions Glenn Hall and Martin Botha to the ranks of spectator. The remaining classes are all hotly contested by both privateer and factory entries alike. The Durban event has always been popular, as this year's record entry of 74 cars confirms. Of the 74, 17 are factory entries, leaving 57 privateers in the field. The skies are clear and the streets are busy as the crews make their way to the start in the Motortown section of central Durban. The draw sees Van der Merwe and Boshoff first on the road, with Toyota's Serge Damso starting 2 minutes behind. 3 Nissans, led by Krobler and Swanepoel, follow in 3rd, 4th and 5th places, with the Conquest of Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley 6th off the line. The Deputy Mayor of Durban gets Cyril and Frans on their way at exactly 2 p.m. From here, the competitors follow an open section to the start of Special Stage 1, situated in the cane fields inland of Umhlanga Rocks. One by one, at precisely 2-minute intervals, the cars are brought under starters' orders and then officially sent on their way. From Friday's Durban start, the route moves northwards for 6 daylight special stages. The rally passes close to Tongaat before sweeping up to the Stanger area, where 3 stages are run before the 6 p.m. servicing and supper break. On Special Stage 1, Cyril displays his aggressive driving style that has won him 11 championship titles. The powerful Cosworth motor unfortunately wasted with the lack of traction. As Serge and Vito blast their way through Stage 1, it's the Sentra number 5 of Nick de Waal and Guy Hodgson that appears next, suggesting problems for their teammates. Deep into Stage 1, we found a frustrated Jannie Habach and Douglas Judd stranded with a fan belt problem. Krobler's Nissan was apparently suffering from an identical malfunction. As Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley pass the stranded Nissan, Toyota and Volkswagen's chances improve, while all 3 Nissan teams eat their dust. Damso and Bonafide pull in for their servicing after Stage 2, as Van der Merwe and Boshoff head for Stage 3 near the town of Tongaat. These 2 cars keep their positions on the road, with Damso having set the fastest times on the first 2 stages. While they remain virtually unaffected by the Nissan drama, Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley are now placed 3rd on the road and fight for 2nd place on the scoreboard. Hannes Krobler and Piet Swanepoel arrive at the start of Stage 3 in time for us to join them in the car. New Sentras are without doubt a formidable challenge for the Class A honours, a fact that makes their fan belt problem so much more frustrating. The belt is thrown only at high revs, something the teams didn't have time to test in their quest to be at the start in time. Exactly 5 kilometers into the stage, Hannes sees his rev counter flick into the red as the belt once again gives way. His only choice is to pull off the road. Temporary repairs will get them out of the stage. The prospects of curing the problem seem remote. Local lads Ralph Chadwick and Mike Constable, promoted this year to Class B, find themselves in a compromising situation. Down the field, the rally continues. For Nissan, though, the race is run. Motorsport manager Peter de Waal confirms his decision to withdraw.
We built 4 cars before the rally, and it was a very, very big job. We didn't have really the time to test the way we want, and something relatively small went wrong. We've got a hiccup with the fan belt, and it keeps on coming off, and we've decided it's not worth our while to carry on. We'll rather save the cars, make the modification it requires, and then do extensive testing for the next rally.
Sorrell's working hard. It seems the only time the Sapphire stands straight is at the starting line. For the spectators, it's one heck of a show. Serge Damso has the advantage of 4-wheel drive traction at hand. His winning stage times drive home the fact. While the road conditions are excellent, the surface is very dry and Serge is loving it. Glenn Gibbons has secured 2nd place on the score sheet, the Toyota literally flying. Keeping tabs on the leaders is young Enzo Kuhn with navigator Johan Seeling. Their conquest is easily leading Class C and will clear any Class B competition. With the Nissans now officially off their backs, the Toyota crew can relax, enjoy a meal and sign autographs. We snatched a moment to ask Sorrel van der Merwe how his rally was going.
Clearly we've had no problems, apart from the fact that we've now run out of tyres. We've used a set of tyres, rear tyres per stage, so we're desperately running around looking for tyres. It's just that in these tight, loose conditions, we're really losing out a lot to the other teams. And only a 4-wheel drive can cure that.
Now, you haven't driven a rear-wheel driving rallying for quite a few years now. Does it take a bit of getting used to?
It takes me back to the early 80s, yeah. The handling is about the same as we used to have then. And I'm having fun. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm having fun.
3 night stages transport the rally cars back to Durban for the overnight stop. The darkness of the cane fields at night is broken by a blaze of quartz halogen lights as the leading car blasts through one of the spectator points. The dust and darkness does little to ease the pace of the front-running competitors. Bar a few mishaps further down the field, the positions remain intact. Serge Damso extending an already commanding lead.
We've had a nice smooth run, Hassels, and we're in about 1 minute and 59 seconds in the lead. And the car's going very well, so quite happy about it.
So the scoreboard after 9 stages tells a tale of misery for the Nissan camp, while Toyota hold the top 3 places. Johan Evertser and Steve Harding keep Volkswagen's efforts alive, ahead of the hard-working Sorrel van der Merwe. 9 a.m. under blazing sunlight, the competitors line up at Kings Park Stadium for Special Stage 10, the first of the final day stages. Second on the road, Glenn Gibbons enters the stadium, giving the spectators a show of potent 4-wheel drive power. This young driver has a wealth of motocross experience and currently competes in Stanek Group N and Clubman's track racing. The lack of pressure from behind gives Glenn and Peter the chance to enjoy this exhibition stage. From the stadium in Durban, a long open section down the N2 takes cars as far as Scottborough, where the stages lie inland from the coastline. 4 stages, 11, 12, 13 and 14 before the lunchtime regroup, and then 3 stages complete the event. The finish is back in Durban. There's no question that the Toyota is in command. Team orders, however, will not allow a heated challenge from Gibbons. But behind the leaders, a reduced field of 42 competitors are putting in an equal, if not greater effort. 8th overall, and the leading privateer, Leon Botha and Francois Jourdan, in their Class C Golf GTI. Hometown lads Chadwick and Constable coming to grips with the power of the 16-valve Golf. In stage 12, disaster strikes the leading Toyota as Damso spends 4 minutes stranded on the side of the road. Gibbons and Cuffley snatch the lead from their teammates, while Enzo Kuhn and Johan Seeling suddenly find themselves behind big brothers Damso and Bonafide, who marginally hold on to 2nd place. Young Enzo's pace obviously quickens. Johan Evertse joins the rush, sensing a 2nd place as they smell the Toyota's blood. Oblivious to the drama up front, Tony Ball and Tony Babb of Class D have Damso behind them on the road. Serge has used 10 minutes of allowed lateness to carry out repairs, but the engine is still misfiring. As they exit special stage 13, the motor splutters and no amount of cranking will persuade the Conquest to start.
It seems to be problems, Sid.
I wish I knew.
As the service crew arrives, 190 kilowatts of engine power is reduced to mere people power as the Conquest is recovered from the stage. Bitter frustration and disappointment is reflected on Serge and Vito's faces as a faulty wiring connection is discovered. Out in the cane fields, the Works Volkswagen takes 2nd place despite having no 5th gear. Damso, now back in business, gets his throttle foot ready for some heavy action. Damso's intentions become obvious as the Conquest starts special stage 14. After a comfortable overnight lead, Serge and Vito now lie 4th. They are 30 seconds on the scoreboard behind 3rd-placed Kuhn and Seeling. Serge Damso is known for his ability to charge from the back of the field. The leading competitors are unaware at this stage of the times he's setting. The crowd is obviously enjoying the spectacle. Van der Walt and Van der Linde placed 2nd in Class D behind Tony Ball and Tony Babb, who lead the class. Scott and Clifton, another privateer team, also working to keep their hard-earned 13th place. Still very much in the rally, despite stalling in front of the spectators here on stage 14, are Paolo Piazzamuzzo and Neil Watt in the newly built Uno Turbo. Teething problems have kept the service crew busy and the stage time slow. Glenn Gibbons has a 3-minute 21-second lead on Johan Evertse and navigator Steve Harding.
Steve Harding, you guys have now pulled yourselves up to 2nd spot.
I think a little bit more by default than by skill. We've had a lot of difficulty. We think that we're getting the problem right. We've just replaced the gearbox. We've now got 5th gear again. We've had a niggling fault somewhere that's difficult to find. It's probably something very, very minor, but it's been with us since stage 4 yesterday and has made matters very difficult. We're having some difficulty in staying ahead of young Enzo Kuhn, and he's been giving us a hard time. We're now 24 seconds ahead of him. And with 55 Ks to go, it's going to be a very interesting battle. Serge will have to take just over a second a K off us. Obviously, if we haven't cured the miss, it will be impossible to stay ahead. It's going to be very hard work to stay ahead of Serge.
Enzo Kuhn's place loss to the Volkswagen was largely due to incredible tyre wear from the hectic pace up front. Having used all of their rubber, they've had to borrow from Toyota teammates. Gibbons and Cuffley have to keep their act together and not allow the fight for 2nd place or the pace of Serge Damso to cause any unnecessary mistakes. With 3 stages remaining, Damso throws caution to the wind, causing navigator Vito Bonafide to sweat, not only from the heat. 5th place, Cyril van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff have been running consistently until a puncture on the 15th stage cost them time. A bent tyre rod has added to the already tiring job of keeping the Ford on the road. Enzo Kuhn and Johan Seeling have taken the fight for second place to heart, pushing the less powerful Class C Conquest to its absolute limit. Their new stock of Dunlop MSs knocking seconds off their times. But the fight is over in the 16th stage when we find Evitzer and Harding's Golf sounding good, but going slow. Radio contact with the crew has confirmed that the gearbox is stuck in second, an unfortunate situation that loses Johan and Steve valuable hard-earned time. The disappointment shows. We've placed an in-car camera with Cassie Coetzee and Wiley Harrington, the current Class B leaders in their Volkswagen dealer Team Golf. This highly talented driver-navigator pair have been successfully rallying together for nearly a decade. In the 80s, they formed part of the formidable Nissan Skyline squadron, driving a works car with tremendous effect. Teaching an old dog new tricks best describes Cassie's conversion from the powerful rear-wheel drive Nissan to the twitchy front-wheel drive Conquest he and Wiley so successfully drove in the Toyota dealer rally last year. Wiley Harrington has kept himself busy, navigating for many of the up-and-coming young drivers who depend on someone with experience on the maps. This experience, together with his likable personality, makes him a much sought-after member of any team. Together again, Cassie and Wiley show what an asset they are to the Volkswagen dealer team. Back to the leaders, with Glenn and Peter holding their pace, totally unaware that behind them, Serge Damso and Vito Bonafide have, in the space of 2 stages, moved from 4th to 2nd place on the score sheets. Known for his ability to chase, Serge has gained almost a second a kilometre on the leaders. Having passed through the flying finish, the Gibbons-Cuffley Conquest safely approaches the final Marshall Point. A consistently fast pace has kept Glenn and Peter ahead of a talented field of drivers and navigators. Their 4-wheel drive Conquest never missing a beat through the event. Unable to fend off Damso's charge, a commendable effort nonetheless from the young but talented Enzo Kuhn and Johan Seeling. In a display of true grit, Serge and Vito's fight back to 2nd place will be the talking point of the rally. As the marshals write up the times, Serge is 14 seconds faster than teammate Glenn Gibbons. It's been a long, hard day. Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley receive the honoured custom of wreaths and champagne, indulging in the glory of their well-earned victory. It's Toyota 1, 2 and 3 at the end of the first round of the championship. Cassie Coetzee and Wiley Harrington putting their Class B Golf 1 second ahead of Johan Evitzer and Steve Harding to take 4th place and Class B honours. Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen finish 6th ahead of Ralph Chadwick and Mike Constable. 8th is the second husband and wife team of Skulk and Sue Berger, while Tony Ball and Tony Babb finish 9th overall and take Class D honours. 10th are privateers Coleman and Koch, while Sarel van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff are off the scoreboard in 11th place overall. The next round of the championship is the Volkswagen International Rally, which starts in George on the 12th of April. We'll be previewing this event in Top Sport on the TSS channel on Thursday the 11th, so make a note and join us then. This programme was